Drew, I'm really excited to have Dash Culture on the podcast tonight. But how are we going to introduce them?
Bryce, I got just the thing.
Here we go! So we're finally here, recording for you. But here comes some dudes that will join in too. Put your cheeks together and make them flap as we take you through the House of Mario rap. DC! Dash Culture!
They're a pop culture podcast that cover all bases, and they're here to cover empty aces. The hot takes can fire in spurts, and when you hear them, your brain will burst.
They talk movies, music, and gaming too. They're hot shot members
Of the 8-bit crew,
DC! Dash Culture! DC! Dash Culture is here!
this host's got style, so listen up dudes. Dash can create fun art to reflect his mood. He's calm and collected when he needs to be. He can rock the mic and make it look like a breeze. If you bring up esports, it won't be long before he hits you with "You are wrong."
DC! Dash Culture! He has no stutter. His facts are ace. But this host has a fantastic face. He can podcast even finer than Drew. And give his opinion just for you. Explain himself about his view. Buddy here is one slick dude. DC! Dash Culture! DC! Dash Culture is here!
Movies, music, gaming that sells. Here come the hosts from the top of the shelves. I said movies, music, gaming that sells. Here come the hosts from the top of the shelves. I said movies, music, gaming that sells. Here come the hosts from the top of the shelves. I said. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, episode 47, and we are the Nintendo podcast, a part of the ATEBIT collective. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me, as always, is the delightful Bryce DeWitt.
I wanted a tagline this week.
You got delightful. What are you complaining about?
Alright, okay, I'll take it.
And joining us for the first
Asshole.
time... What was that? And joining us for the first time are the guys from the Dash Culture podcast, Mr. Dan Gamer... Oh, Dash Gamer, sorry.
Yeah, that's alright either way.
And Buddy Watson.
Now this is an unbelievable trend with him because he does this every time, no matter how many times or how well he knows a person, he always fucks the name.
I do.
Every single time.
I can barely remember your name, Bryce.
Oh no! There's some names. There's some weeks where he's just stifled mine. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to come in on your defense
That's
there,
all.
Drew, because most people just know Dash as Dash, and I bet you there's like 80% of people that know Dash as Dash probably don't even know his real name. So I don't even know how to say Dash's last name, but it's an R and has a million Zs, I think. So.
What are you talking about? It's gamer, like Drew said.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn gamer. That's me,
Mr. Gamer. There
Mr.
we go.
Gamer.
Dash
Oh, wait,
Game
is
and
Is that on your
Watch.
business card? So you guys are from the review... not the review, sorry.
Slow down.
The Dash Culture podcast.
Yeah, brother.
All about pop culture. For someone who doesn't know what that show might be about, fill us in.
Basically, so myself and Buddy came together earlier in I don't know, mid 2017. We decided that we were going to do something together. Buddy was doing something along the lines of a pop culture podcast himself, and basically myself. I was planning to do a PlayStation podcast with Pez from at the time Game Bro. And we were in the midst of it, and Pez got lucky. He actually scored a job over at 2K, which was really cool, Pez. And unfortunately through that, he had to step down from Game Bro, and also meant that we couldn't do our PlayStation podcast that we were planning, unfortunately. But myself and Buddy had done a episode of Review Culture in the past on Life is Strange Before the Storm, which was actually Buddy reckons it's one of the better performing episodes of Review Culture. And he came to me and said...
It's in the top 15, bro.
There you go. Top 15, I'll take that. He came to me and said, I'd be interested in doing something together with you. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let's do something. And this came together. And I had to come up with a name. And I was with the 8-Bit Collective at the time, with 8-Bit at the time before the Collective, and they turned around and said, how about, because I came up with the Review Dash, and they were like, no, Dash Culture. I'm like, all right. So it basically came together as Dash Culture, and we basically cover video games, pop culture, anime, comics, music, everything that you can think of under the nerdy sun. So there you go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see you guys come together, because when I listened to that episode of Review Culture back before you formed this podcast, it was really good listening to you guys, sort of the back and forth between you two.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. So I felt like we had a good vibe going on, and usually in the Review Culture podcast, it was kind of 3 or 4 of us, so it was a bit different and out of my element doing a one-on-one, like just the 2 of us. So, and just listen to you guys as well when you do House of Mario. I think it's something interesting when there's just 2 of you. You don't get crowded over conversation, which is probably going to happen and come through on this podcast as we all get a bit excited and things. But I think it's a good dynamic, and came through easily. So
yeah, this is by far the biggest crew we've had to do a podcast. Probably was the last. We usually have 3 if we have a guest, but
right.
4 on. Yeah, we're going to be.
well, the original plan was you came to me, Drew, and you said, "How about being a guest?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then that was before E3. And then basically he said, E3's coming up. How about we move it after E3? And I was like, yeah, dude. I go, whatever's more comfortable. And then I was thinking about it over E3, and I'm like, how about we just do a crossover? How about we just do all 4 of us together on the one show, and it'd be good. And so this kind of came together. Buddy, I'll be honest, Buddy kind of jumped the boat on me. He turned around and was like, dude, guess what? Next week, House of Mario. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, House of Mario next week. And I'm like, well, since when? And he goes, oh. I'm like, did you jump the boat in? He's like, oh, I'm really excited about Mario Tennis and everything. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
Mario Tennis, mate, game of the year.
Yeah, because we had just finished recording the other episode, or last week's episode, so we weren't really thinking about what we're going to do this week.
Yeah.
And Buddy's like, we should come on and talk about the Mario Tennis, and I'm like, well, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about it yet. Why not?
I guess we'll have to play it before we go ahead and talk about it.
Fair enough. No, what did we do? Friday night, we were with a couple of NPCs, and they were doing their stream on Twitch, and we all got together. Myself, the NPC boys, Buddy, Benny from 8-Bit, and Narcy was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up. Apparently, he's sick or something. And we all got together and basically just did a little mini tournament through Mario Tennis Aces. It was an awesome night. Like, we had a lot of fun playing it. So, but I'm sure we'll cover that pretty soon on the podcast anyway.
Yeah. So this episode will be somewhat a review of Mario Tennis Aces, just what us 4 think about the game. But before we get to that, Dash, you want to bring up some of the hacking scene that's going on at Switch at the moment?
Yeah. So before I actually start this, I want to preface this by saying I don't condone piracy. And also, if this intrigues you, please be aware that this actually might get your Switch banned. So if you're actually going to go through with any of what I'm saying right now, just be aware of that. So please be careful. You can also brick your Switch doing this. So if you're not actually technically inclined by all this, I'm throwing that out there. You've been warned,
and it's going to void your warranty.
Exactly. Yes.
From 100%.
From the get-go, it voids your warranty. But if you pass that 12-month period, I guess your warranty's already void anyway. So, boys, I've been actually part of the homebrew scene for a long time now. I've actually been I'm an active member over at GBA Temp, and I've been in one for a long time now. And I was actually part of the inception of a homebrew game widely known as Newer Super Mario Brothers Wii. I was actually one of the first members part of that crew to actually develop that hack, basically. And I kind of stepped away from that back in 2011, and then they recently released it in 2014 or 2015, I believe. But through that, I've always been active with homebrew, and I always loved trying to get emulators and everything working on Nintendo's consoles, because I always loved my old school games. So recently, there came, only a couple of days ago, a team known as Team Executor actually released basically a hack known as SXOS, SX operating system for the Nintendo Switch, which allows homebrew, but also allows questionable piracy and all that stuff, which I don't touch. I'm mainly in it for the homebrew. But the reason I bring this up, boys, is because this now has opened up the floodgates for pirates, for people who want to homebrew, and also want to, just try and open up the Switch as much as they can. The problem I see with this, and this is first-hand account, because I'm lucky enough to actually own 2 Nintendo Switches. I've owned 2 of them since launch. One I bought to use for, general use, and the other one was for this specific purpose because I just love, tinkering with this kind of thing. My worry, boys, is that this is going to open up the floodgates for those pirates out there, and this is my worry with Nintendo, is that now the go is that they're trying to ban every single system that gets on to this firmware, this custom firmware, and at the same time, people who are dumping these cartridges now, the Nintendo Switch cartridges, there's a specific header code for them, and whatever gets duplicated onto a Switch in terms of piracy, these pirates can actually turn around and trade their games in, but the specific header code on a cartridge now will get banned itself. So,
oh wow,
yeah. I was just reading up about this just before we came on, and it was wowing me too. So, basically, this is a big risk. So, for myself and Buddy, who work at JB, who trade these games in, this is going to be big trouble for us. And also for Nintendo as well, because they won't know what to do in the long run. I mean, this is now a thing where Nintendo has tried their hardest to prevent piracy, but it just keeps kicking them in the ass and over again.
See, this sounds familiar. I actually think I've read about this. People were putting out cautions on buying on secondhand games from eBay and stuff like that for that very reason.
Yeah.
That they would get the games and it would just either brick their Switch or they'd be unusable 100%. Right. So I'm not sure of the complete ramifications of it. I just know that there was someone on Twitter that said just don't even go to eBay for your games. Buy your games first hand. Don't even go there.
So, it's almost going to kill the second-hand market if it's going to be this bad.
Yeah. It's going to be something that Nintendo really needs to look over and assess what they're going to do in terms of protecting their console now, because with the floodgates open, as I said, it just makes for more coding. They just released a new firmware for it today, version 1.2, which now because they had a wall on them already as soon as it came out. So Mario Tennis Aces had apparently become a new version of the cartridges that have been released to actually patch this. All of a sudden today they released a new patch, and hey, people are playing Mario Tennis on this new firmware.
So the firmware is not older emulation type stuff. It's actually current games that are out. Is that right?
It's piracy / homebrew is what's going on.
Yeah.
So
because the way they're able to hack the Switch isn't software based, is it? It's hardware based. They're actually getting into the NVIDIA chip. Yeah,
so it's a NAND base. I'm going to be technical here for anybody out there who doesn't really understand the lingo. NAND is basically the chipset. So it's actually overriding the chipset and injecting its own firmware. So for anybody out there, the layman's terms is if you go to your settings in your Switch and you see firmware 5.0. whatever it is, that's your firmware number. When you inject a custom firmware in, what it's doing is overriding that firmware. Temporarily, mind you, it's only doing it temporarily. So you got to do this every time you actually have to reboot your Switch to get this custom firmware, which is a bit of a pain in the ass for some people. But for people who are once again inclined to do this in terms of they know what they're doing, then it's nothing. It's a breeze. If anything, I actually did on my second one with a paperclip. It just takes a paperclip from Officeworks to put it into your right hand side, and bam, you're ready to go. Jesus. That's what I mean. So something as simple as that. I remember my PlayStation 3, I did the same thing with my TI-84 calculator that I actually programmed to jailbreak my PlayStation 3.
Bring out that maths A history in you.
Dude, it was so funny because it was my calculator from high school.
Yeah. I was going to say, I still remember rocking one.
Yeah.
And trying to draw things on it, let alone hacking an entire system with it.
I used to play Super Mario Maths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just wanted to get your boys' thoughts, especially you being a Nintendo podcast. Also on this kind of thing, it worries me as a Nintendo fan as well. I just wanted to get your boys' thoughts, especially this being the House of Mario, on this whole situation.
It definitely worries me because like all of the success the Switch has had with indie games and its own first party games.
Yeah.
If enough people get into the piracy, it can completely destroy it all.
Yeah. And it's only a year in for the Switch as well, and
Yeah. And they're not able to patch it either. So as this spreads, more people are going to try it, be interested in and pirate their games.
Yeah, and that's exactly what worries me because it's so accessible to do this, and it's super simple that if an idiot gets a hold of this kind of thing, if they make it super simple to the point where you don't need to have a paperclip and bend it the right way to make this happen, and I've seen people do it, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even get to that point. But it just makes me wonder how simple they're going to make it and how worrisome it's going to get for Switch in the future. But look, I love my Nintendo Switch. I love playing all my games on it. I like Mario Tennis Aces is awesome. Super Mario Odyssey is one of my favorites, and Legend of Zelda is just fucking phenomenal. But can we swear on this podcast?
Yeah,
Cool.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's fucking phenomenal. But this just worries me a little bit. I hope that Nintendo are able to I'd love Nintendo to ban me on this Switch. I'd love them. It's like enticing Nintendo, ban me on this Switch, please, because I tell you, this is not something that I want to see from them. But
No.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you, Dash, where I think the homebrew community it's a good thing to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy seeing the stuff that people can come up with, whether it be in custom OSs or whether they're making their own custom games, putting them onto the Switch.
Yeah.
Even sometimes people just breaking the shit out of a game, breaking it down so that it'll work on a Switch, something like, I don't know, Fallout or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
People get into crazy shit and they'll do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the piracy thing and the fact that they can make a game render a game completely useless is the most worrying thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because again, it kills the secondhand market.
Yeah.
And I buy all my Nintendo games brand new.
Yeah.
I never touch them secondhand unless they're like Wii trash dump titles. But like that's the only time I ever touch secondhand Nintendo. I have not touched secondhand with Switch at all, and I refuse to.
Yeah.
It's crazy to hear that it's possible to steal that header code and just make a game useless.
Yeah.
It's actually quite hard to find a lot of secondhand Nintendo stuff because I find a lot of people hold on to them. They don't kind of really trade them in as much. Well, based on like our experience in retail kind of land, we hardly ever get any Switch titles. Yeah. Switch titles traded in, even 3DS titles, we hardly ever get any of those traded in as well, or some of the older Wii stuff. People kind of hold on to it, and it kind of holds its value, weirdly enough. So,
they're not cheap enough to even bother buying secondhand.
So hopefully that's kind of a deterrent in it itself, and kind of like maybe a bit of an indicator if it's happening. If we're getting more copies traded in of Switch or any other Nintendo software, then maybe that'll be like a bit of a red flag too. So.
Yeah.
Speaking on that, I think that's a thing that's common in cartridge-based systems as well.
What's that?
Like I don't like trade-ins.
Yeah.
You don't see cartridges traded in nowhere near as much as you do disc copies of anything.
Absolutely,
no, not at all. Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether that sort of lays into it somehow, but it just seemed like even with the Vita, I didn't see a lot of trade-ins with the Vita as well.
Didn't sell enough software.
Well, no, it didn't. No, the Vita commercially was pretty much the Wii U.
Yeah,
I think with the Vita too, I think people are more inclined to download the games on that as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I know
possibly.
I was.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It depends. You get the people that don't want to touch those overpriced fucking memory sticks.
Oh yeah.
They were bullshit enough on the PSP alone.
Well, you had to buy one even if you wanted physical games, so it doesn't matter.
Because I homebrewed the shit out of my PSP, but getting a memory stick for that thing was a pain in the ass.
I did it early on,
was
so
awful.
I was able to get everything quick, smart. So, like in terms of when homebrew comes out, I'm always on top of it. So I'm like always going to be in there, like right at the get go, just to kind of play around with it. Especially like as I said, when this custom firmware was released, man, I was on the get go. I was like, I need to test this out. I was like that with the Wii as well. I pretty much jumped on custom firmware as soon as it came out. I even hard modded my Wii. There was a joint only around the corner from me that did hard modding for Wii's, and I took it there. They mod chipped it, and like that kind of thing. There, I was always like into even as a kid, and I opened up my own PlayStation as a kid. Even like as I think I was like 7 years old, I opened up my own PlayStation and actually mod chipped it myself with a soldering iron. So I've always been like that. I love technology, but in terms of piracy, I'm against that. So it's one of those things where I hope that Nintendo find a way. I mean, I know it's hard because it's essentially the Switch is essentially a tablet, so it's going to be a little harder for them to actually try and patch this. Whereas I think they had it okay with the Wii U. They were banning Wii U's at one point. They were
banning them by not selling them.
Fuck.
Well, shit.
It's the dark ages for us, alright? It's hard to remember.
Well, it's just like they didn't even bother banning them. They're just that happy that they actually sold one. They just left it.
Pretty much, yeah. But as soon
Thanks
as
for buying our product. You can just hack it all you want. Yeah.
Just go for it, boys. Just go for it.
as soon as custom firmware came out for it, I reckon they were selling more of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a bit like the
probably.
PSP. That's sort of what happened with that. Everyone's that keen to hack it and play SNES games. They just
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even what was funny was I remember when I hard modded my Wii, and that year Super Smash Brothers came out. It was only July. I think it was July in Japan, the release, and then it wasn't coming out until like January or December that year. And my mates were like, "Oh, come on, we're gonna get Smash," and I'm like, and they're like, "What?" And so I imported Smash so I could play it because I had a disc-based soft mod as well called Freeloader, but that was expensive as shit to actually import. So I just did the hard mod, so it would just save me some time. And I imported Smash from Japan, and we were playing Smash in July, which was awesome. But see, things like that I can kind of understand if you want to soft mod your Switch. But now the Switch is like the Switch is region free, so you don't even have to do that. Plus, games now are getting a worldwide release, so you don't really need to do any of that anymore unless you're pirate. So, but that's basically everything that's happening right now with the modding scene, I guess.
Yeah. I just want to bring up, there was a story of it come up over the weekend, I think it was, but because of the Switch being hacked, they're able to upload their own custom user pictures or profile pictures.
Yeah.
And people actually uploading pornography, and it was coming up in Mario
Odyssey,
the balloon mode.
Oh my god.
So it's there's shit like that that's affecting it as well, not just piracy and.
So there was also another piece to that says that was a hoax. However, nothing's been confirmed. But if that's what's going on, then yeah, fuck yeah, I don't condone that shit. That's just terrible, especially knowing that kids are playing these kind of games.
Don't know if you remember as well with the PlayStation camera initially when they were doing the when it first came out and they're doing the streaming off that, and they had the what's the little robot game, the playroom, and people like having sex on camera in the playroom and like crazy stuff and being naked, and they just had to
I remember that,
and they just had to ban the game.
How did you remember this? I can't never remember that.
I remember it because it was such a controversy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I remember it because I have a PS camera.
Oh. Well,
the only man in the world with a remaining PS camera.
I just don't know how you get it on with all those little robots going around.
It's half the fun.
Fair enough. There you go.
Dear Lord.
All right, guys, let's move into some Mario Aces talk.
Yeah.
All
right, buddy, go for it.
The game came out on Friday, and we've all been playing it over the weekend.
Yeah.
I personally haven't put a heap of time into it. I've only done a little bit of the story and played a few matches, but I played a fair bit of the beta a few weeks before that.
All right.
But how are you guys finding the story so far?
I completed the story 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So, let me clarify this once again, buddy. I lied to you again on the podcast. He's giving me the finger. I actually did get a review copy. I completed the story about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't touched it since. It wasn't that good. The story is probably the weakest part of the game. The strongest part of the game is honestly its online. That's basically in terms of when I said that it's strongest, I think it's probably because it's the most interactive way to play it. I don't think its online services are that great yet, but that's because they haven't launched their premium online service, obviously. But in terms of what I've played of the story, nah, nothing great.
Did it work well for you as like a I guess, a way to learn the mechanics in the game, or was it just not even that good for that?
No, look, it plays good. Like I liked the story for its gameplay. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah,
There's nothing much to say about the story. That's the problem, and I'm finding that that's what's going on a lot with Mario sports games, and they kind of inject these kind of story modes into these games just to kind of have something to play around with, to get used to playing, so that once you get into these exhibition modes, whether it's online or offline or whatever, you're good to go. It's basically like a practice mode to get you ready. But these are those kind of modes there is what turns me off from actually buying these sports games from Nintendo a little bit lately. Like, they used to be great on Nintendo 64, but once they kind of got to the GameCube phase, I was like, Mario Strikers was great on GameCube. I loved it. Then when it got to the Wii, I was like, fuck, this is shit. And then now it's just like, okay, I ain't touching another sports game. The only reason I got it, honestly, was because Buddy kept talking about it, so...
And you got a review
copy. And a review copy, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Buddy?
Okay, so I spent heaps of time in the beta, probably about 50, 60 matches. So first of all, the best part of the game is its gameplay, easily, hands down. Adventure mode, I'm not really that far in. I think I'm up to the Boo's Mansion. So I'm kind of only just like around the first stone, so I'm not really too far in with adventure mode. And it's kind of not really grabbing me. Like, I want to finish it. I definitely want to complete it. Excuse me, but I'm just getting addicted to just jumping into online and playing online, because it's a better challenge than playing computer players. So that's kind of, even before the podcast here, I turned it on, I had 3 matches with a random online. So as soon as I turn it on, I want to play online, or I want to play against my friends. So I don't know if that means the story mode is good or bad or whatever, but I'm not too sure at the moment about it. What about you guys? How much time do you put into adventure mode or story mode as it is?
Well, I'm past the Boo's Mansion and I'm up the Snow Hill.
Yeah.
That's about where I'm at. I don't mind it in the sense that I've hardly ever played a Mario Tennis game in my life, so playing the adventure mode is good for learning the mechanics to a degree. Mm-hmm. I can't say it's 100% perfect, because the situations you were put in are much different than what an actual match would teach you.
Yep.
The thing that absolutely ticks me off about the game is when you go to an extra challenge or something, it's gonna offer you a bit more of a challenge, but it inevitably means you're going to fail a couple times. But instead of giving you the option to rematch, it boots you out, mocks you, and then makes you restart a conversation again, just so you can start the match again. And I got so close to throwing my entire console at a wall at one point because I was just like, fucking stop, please. Because it didn't fucking... The first one, which I think was like against Spike, it didn't explain it at all.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like, keep the ball away from Spike. I'm like, okay, all right, I guess I'll just try to hit it in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
No.
And that's exactly what I meant by it's a practice mode before you actually get into it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's complete tutorial based, and then it's like a wall before you actually crack that wall to get into the gameplay. And that's what bores me too.
Yeah, 100%.
It does sound a bit disappointing, because when we first saw this game announced at the Direct back earlier this year, we thought it was going to be a bit more of a return to the Mario Tennis games on Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color, but it seems like it's not quite that much of a jump back to that. But I think it is nice they did at least try to include a bit more of a mode in this game, rather than just... Because like Mario Tennis on the Wii U, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was just complete garbage. They had nothing in it, and their main hook was, hey look, there's a Mega Mushroom, and it didn't do anything either. It just literally made you bigger.
Nobody gave the shit about the fucking Mega Mushroom in any Mario game.
Terrible.
Jesus Christ.
The Mega Mushroom was cool in New Super Mario Bros.
The game literally introduced in after that, and useless.
Yeah.
Well, in Mario Kart Wii, it was really annoying.
Oh god, that was terrible when they introduced it.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Don't get us started on Mario Kart Wii, please.
Oh, Mario Kart Wii was like one of the worst Mario Karts I've ever played in my life.
It is the worst Mario Kart.
Honestly, I remember playing it for the first time as well, and that was another one that I imported from Japan, and we played it, and I thought to myself, what, we're all playing with the wheel and everything. I'm like, this is awesome, because we had it on a projector. I remember the first night we played it, we had it on like a huge ass projector at my mate's place, and we were playing it that night, playing Smash and Mario Kart, and Mario Kart was like, this is awesome. And then when you jump over to Mario Kart 8, it's like, well, Mario Kart Wii was trash.
I know.
Yeah.
I hated Mario Kart Wii when it was current. I couldn't.
Oh,
stand
really?
it.
You hated it when it was current?
Yeah, it's so unbalanced. It was just ridiculous. You're coming first and you get hit by a blue shell, someone runs over you in a mega mushroom, lightning. It was like nuts. I'm like, holy crap, guys, you have not balanced this for 12 players.
Well, you guys have seen that meme video where Daisy gets knocked off the bridge, yeah?
I probably have. But
right at the finishing line, she gets knocked off the bridge, and like everybody swings past her
and destroys her.
Yeah, that was Mario Kart Wii in a nutshell. That really was
pretty much. Yeah, terrible game.
So we'll get to the mechanics of Mario Tennis Aces, all the new stuff they've added. I think this is really good. They've made it a lot more of a competitive game that actually takes a lot of skill to play. What do you guys think?
Absolutely, 100%. This is where Mario Tennis kind of shines. Back in Mario Tennis 64. That was its strength as well. Just the gameplay of it. I don't think it had an adventure mode from memory. It might have had.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
No, it might have
probably had a tournament mode. But
but I kind of agree with what you said before, Bryce, about that frustration in the adventure mode where you fail something, they kick you out. You have to go through the dialogue. None of the dialogue is skippable, even though you've kind of been exposed to it 2-3 times already. There's no
500.
There's absolutely no reason for you to be subjected to that. There's no reason to have a loading screen behind that or anything like that. It's just kind of unacceptable. And this is what really kind of irks me with Mario Tennis. It's so good and it's so bad at the same time. Like, there's little things that are bad like that. There's, like you said, the gameplay. You're talking about the mechanics now. It's awesome. The kind of scissor paper rock mechanic with the slice, the top spin, the flat shots. Then you got the zone shots, and you're like using your energy meter and when you're going to use it and how you're going to use it. Whether you're going to do zones or ultimates. It's awesome. It's like that's why I want to play this game. Just the pure gameplay. That's what they needed to hit, and for me they did. It's just a bit frustrating. There's not as many customizable options or anything like that could have really, for me, like, made this from great to amazing. So,
well, the thing is like, and talking about the mechanics and the gameplay, the multiplayer is such a different contrast in comparison to the adventure mode. The adventure mode almost feels like it wants you to slow down 90% of the time because it gives you challenges, doesn't really explain them, expects you to figure them out yourself, and then it kicks you out, mocks you, makes you restart the whole talking, all that bullshit. But the multiplayer is a 100% different contrast, where if you jump into an online lobby, you get into an online lobby, pick your character, you'll find a match, you'll start the match goes quick, you move on to the next match, whether you won or lost, depending, and then you just keep going. You just keep firing, and firing.
Yep.
So that is why the multiplayer is fantastic, because it doesn't slow you down. But going from, like, I have this speed in the multiplayer where I can just keep playing, to the adventure mode where you just, like, stop trying to slow me down and just let me hit a rematch button or some shit. Yep. It's a completely different contrast in between the two, and that's what makes the multiplayer shine even more, I think.
Absolutely.
I think here's my deal, is that I love the gameplay, I love the mechanics, I love everything else about the game. My deal with the whole experience itself right now is based on how much will I play it further down the line, though. And as of right now, I loved having that Friday night session with the boys, but I don't know if I'm going to play anymore after that. Like, Buddy said, hey, jump on, like 5 minutes before we were supposed to start recording. He goes, hey, jump on. I'm like, no. I'm like, get on the PC with you. I'm like, I'm not interested.
Now, is that because you didn't feel like playing, or because last time we played you went 0-7?
All right, no, look, that has nothing to do with it. It's more along the lines of the replayability is there. It's like they're tenfold, but whether the interest is going to be there for a lot of players later down. Because I've seen, like, we just talked about this. We've talked about how we don't see a lot of Nintendo games traded in. However, when they are traded in, this is usually one of the bulk. And, like, if you go to an EB Games and you have a look at their Wii U section, their pre-owns, Mario Tennis is there. It's there in it's like they're in buckets. And that's what worries me about this game is that it's going to be the same lasting appeal as well. I'm not sure because personally myself, I mean, I scored a review copy, but usually when I do get review copies and I like the game, I actually purchase them just to kind of support the developer. However, this is one of those scenarios where I have purchased the game, but I'm inclined to maybe return it only because I don't know if I want to keep playing it after the front. Not because of my skill. Let me admit, yes, I'm shit at the game. Online, I am shit at the game compared to Buddy and the NPC boys. I went 7-0 at one point.
I'm so glad we have this on recording. I'm so glad we have this as evidence.
Shut up, would you? Anyway, the point is that yeah, I'm shit at the game, but it's not even that. It's whether there's going to be a lasting appeal to it when some other titles come out, because we've got heaps of games coming out on Switch in the next coming months too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
There's already heaps of multiplayer games there right now, so the competition they've got just out the gate's huge.
Yep.
So once the hype dies down, it will be interesting to see how this game goes, because obviously Splatoon's kept on to its community. Mario Kart is always going to have its community. You're going to have Smash Brothers. Pokemon's going to probably have a bit of a community. I don't know what the multiplayer is for that game online, but there's lots of games you can play online, and this game might be one that will fall by the wayside.
What about you, Drew? What's your opinion on the mechanics?
I really enjoy them. I was getting better when I was playing online, but then everyone just started getting better quicker. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. I was like, I really enjoy like doing the double tap of X and doing that big trick shot across the court and getting the ball back to him like just in the nick of time. Like, it's really satisfying getting that off. But yeah, I've still have a lot to learn about this game to get any better.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having like a Friday night or something, getting people over, playing some Mario Kart and Mario Tennis Aces as well. Hopefully it's one of those games which is easy enough to pick up for people to play.
Yeah.
I just want to point out something that you just did there, which was actually just steered towards like you said, I'm looking forward to getting people over to play Mario Kart with me. And your first thought was Mario Kart and not Mario Tennis Aces.
Well, yeah.
Settle down, Freud.
No, so hold on. I want to like that, and that's my first thought too. Right? Is like when people, and it's already happened. I've had a couple of people over. We've played Mario Tennis. Look, I just did it again. Mario Tennis. But they were completely inclined to turn around and tell me, "Let's chuck on Mario Kart and play some Mario Kart now." So that's what the worrisome is a little bit. I mean, Mario Tennis Aces is great, but it's not Mario Kart, and it's like it's there. It's a sporty game that people like. It's a Mario sport game. It's not something that's gonna. It's not the first thought on everybody's mind when you think of a Mario game. Everybody thinks Super Mario and then Mario Kart, and then there's that lasting appeal of Mario Kart, which is a whole shitload of fun. And don't get me wrong, it's a shitload of fun with Mario Tennis Aces too, but it's not Mario Kart. So, and they try, and they've done that a little bit as well with like Mario Sports Mix, I think it was on the 3DS, where they tried to have like a whole bunch of mini sports games on 3DS, and that was a complete flunk. So it's almost like, it worries me that they're still invested in this Mario Tennis a little bit. Mario Golf, I've heard, is probably going to be making a return as well. And
yes.
Yeah, this is all these kind of things where Buddy likes all these crappy Mario sports games that are going to come out.
Mario Golf on the 3DS was fantastic from what I
it was,
heard.
yeah.
64 was the best one.
Yeah, 64 was dope.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Don't cry, Dash, because you sucked at everybody's golf as well.
Oh, shut up, all right? But look, my initial point is that Smash, when that comes out at the end of the year, this is going to be forgotten.
Yeah,
I think so too. I think the issue. I think the issue in general is that you brought up Sport Mix, right?
Yeah.
I think the reason that they made Sport Mix is because they were like, right, we need to try and steer these extra sport games into a different direction and make them work, and it didn't. It didn't work at all.
Yeah.
Because the thing that brought the individuality to these sports games is their different mechanics in general, which didn't carry over to Sport Mix.
No, it was, they were very basic, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah.
They were super basic. So, like, if you hand me a copy of Strikers, I'll play Strikers. I'll love Strikers. I loved Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on the DS.
Oh, yeah,
I thought that was
that
a
one. That was a good game,
fantastic game. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite Mario sports games, and I'll play the shit out of that. Mario Golf 64, play the shit out of that. But that's not for everyone in saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, people can get kart racing. They're like, oh yeah, you get in the car, you drive places, you know. I understand that. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that nobody understands the point. Like, there are people that don't understand how golf works or how to properly execute a game of tennis.
Yeah.
Or, you know, even basketball. Basketball's not as common around here
especially when you add these other mechanics in.
Yeah. It makes it a little bit confusing. If you don't understand the sport, then people are less interested or inclined to play these things. But everybody understands what the fuck a race is, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Surely.
It's kind of why soccer's the world game, because it's quite simple in its premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Goal each side, and you've got to get to the other side to get the ball in.
That's it.
100%.
So is it weird of me to say that I actually had more fun playing Mario Tennis Open on 3DS than I am actually playing Aces?
Don't know. I haven't played Open.
I haven't
I haven't played Open in a long time either.
Yeah. So I think it was more of the case where I had a lot more time maybe to play Open on, and the portability of Open and all that stuff, as well as like having the portability of Aces as well now. I think maybe it was a certain time and age, or I don't know, maybe I just found that more interesting back then, I guess, when it first came out. But like now with Aces out, look, he's turning it on. Stop playing it, would you? Stop playing it. We can hear you.
I've got a purpose. Hang on.
Turn it off.
Okay.
We're podcasting, yeah. So like, essentially, my view on it is I don't know if maybe my view is skewed or favored or whatever. Maybe I'm looking at this with shit-colored glasses or something, but I don't know. I like the game, but I don't at the same time. Yeah.
I think once you hang on to an old sports title, and I think it's the same with Mario Kart as well, as the first one you play is always going to be the best experience for you, unless it's an absolute shitter of a game.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I will always think that Mario Kart 64 is the best Mario Kart game ever.
And you think that because you're right.
Well, I feel like I'm right.
It was
yes,
good.
Absolutely. But if you want to talk about content, Mario Kart 8 has so much content.
Yeah.
It has so much to offer in one game in
Yeah.
comparison to Mario Kart 64 that you would think, you know, it's obvious which one is the better game in terms of like content, probably gameplay as well, because it's developed over the years.
Yeah.
But I just enjoy Mario Kart 64 because of the way Mario Kart 64 is.
Yep.
I agree.
It's what I grew up with. I liked going off the course and following the train in the desert level. Can't remember what. Dry desert?
Yeah.
Calamari Desert.
Calamari Desert. I used to drive and follow the train, try not to get hit when it was fucking following me, whatever.
Yeah.
Little shit like that. It's all good memories.
Yeah.
And then you transition into like further on. My second favorite is DS.
Yeah.
DS was a stellar game as well.
Yeah, it
And
was.
then
DS was good.
Going on down the line though.
And it's
it just
online
seems
service.
to-
Was DS the first online Mario
Yes.
Kart?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
first
man, I
game.
love playing that online with my mates. You know, and I actually bought the. Do you remember the Nintendo DS Wi-Fi dongle that you had to
Yes,
buy?
I've got one. Yep.
Yeah, I still got one too. So I remember when Nintendo announced they were shutting down their online services, and I tried using it just one more time and it wouldn't work. That was like a really kind of sad moment. Mario Kart. Look, honestly, I think my favorite Mario Kart though of all time has to be Super Mario Kart, the very first one. That was the first one that I played, and I have my fondest memories on that one. Mario Kart 64 was there, but I wasn't a Nintendo guy then. I was actually a PlayStation guy, so I kind of missed out on that until Double Dash came out, and completely just fell in love with that one. But honestly, I'm with you, Bryce. It's Mario Kart 8's honestly just like the be all end all right now of Mario Karts, and I'm hoping, like I said to Buddy when we were doing our predictions episode for E3, that they were going to release a new Mario. Like I said, they were going to release a new Mario Kart, or going to announce one. Sorry, I should say. That even if they were to do it and have it on the same engine as Mario Kart 8, I wouldn't care, because it would be so good, because they've kind of mastered the engine right now with Mario Kart 8. And if it got improved on, mate, to their credit, I've got to give them. But right now we haven't got a new Mario Kart yet, but I'm hoping that we get a surprise next year at E3. So,
Yeah, that's not just a port. As
Yeah.
good as Mario Kart 8 is.
Yeah.
it's just a port, yeah.
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 Yeah. Mario Kart 8 is my favourite Mario Kart game. I absolutely love that game. I can't get enough of that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, awesome.
That's so good.
Mario Kart
I used to say the DS game all the time, but yeah, now it's gone to the Switch version.
I think the DS version just came at the right time for us when we were at that age.
Mm.
And I think that's why it overtook us so quickly.
Yeah, and it's the first one you could easily do 8-player matches.
8-player
altogether.
online, you could create custom emblems, and there was a whole lot of meat to Mario Kart
Yeah.
DS. I don't know. It just
Missions and all that. Yeah.
Did you guys ever play Super Circuit?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. It was.
No.
It was interesting being the first handheld Mario Kart. It was a cool novelty.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
yeah.
I think they tried to kind of capture that essence of Mario Kart 64 on a handheld, but it just wasn't the same. But I still liked it. I remember it was my first portable. It actually went Super Mario Kart and then Mario Kart Super Circuit for me, because I actually didn't get a GameCube until... Well, actually, no, that's right, because it came out before the GameCube. So essentially, it was that kind of... I bridged over Mario Kart 64 to the Game Boy Advance version. And I actually got to have that like on the go with me on our first family trip out of the state, which was cool. So there's memories of that with me as well. So I mean, I love it, but it won't ever stick out to me as one of my favorites. But yeah,
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to borrow it all the time off a friend until I eventually found a second-hand copy. But
yeah,
great game. It was cool as well. That was one of the might have been one of the very few Game Boy Advance games where you could only use one card to do multiplayer.
It absolutely was.
It's awesome. Like, especially back then when we found out you could only plug in the link cable and you could just play in.
yeah.
I remember we were playing it, and I was looking at the bottom of my Game Boy, just seeing nothing in there, but I'm actually playing something. I'm like, oh my god, how am I doing this?
Yeah. No, I remember the Game Boy Advance link cable as well. So many sessions of, the remastered Mario Brothers that you used to get on the Mario Advance cartridges. Yeah.
Yep.
So many sessions of arguing with the siblings and the cousins over that. So, yeah. Really cool.
So does this sum up our sort of discussion on Mario Tennis? We've sort of gone over to Mario Kart.
Massive tangent.
Well, I think the whole point of the last like 5 to 10 minutes has been like, it's hard to see Mario Tennis keeping up when there's so much other good Mario content out there, or multiplayer content on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Splatoon has a competitive community that's really big. ARMS is still trying to break out there, but ARMS is also a really good game.
It has its niche.
It has its niche, absolutely. Yeah, Smash is coming. You know, we've still got a perfectly great Mario Kart.
It seems to me that the mechanics and the actual gameplay of Mario Tennis Aces is really good. What they've added is fantastic, and allowing you to play just a normal game of tennis as well. That's great. For people who might not want to get into it that much. Yeah. And I think the longevity of this game is going to be just people like Buddy being like, okay, I'm going to go online and kick some ass and win some
on his own.
But
I bring it back to that. The thing is, this... For me, this is a 7 out of 10 game, but it should have been a 9. And the things that could have made it a 9 seem like very simple things that make me massively disappointed with it, even though I'm kind of impressed with the gameplay. You can't customize in exhibition or online having 6 games in a set. You can't have more than one set. You can't have best of 2, best of 3. They are just so simple and expected, those things. For me to jump online, this will have some replay value for me and for people that will like me, that are quite competitive and just want to jump in and have some quick matches. But where it dies off, and where it could die off to the other games, is it doesn't have those customization options either. If I could play 6 games in a set, I could play 5-set match. that's what I could be playing an hour for one match, or get into these massive grinds or whatever. That's appealing to me. I want that kind of competitive game, and they don't have that option in there. It's terrible. I've organised the comp at work that 10 of us are in, and it's split up into pool systems, and we're facing each other once in each pool and stuff. I set it up before the game even came out that it was going to be just a 3-set match. And here we are. We can't even verse each other online in a 3-set match. You just get the 1 set, and it's only to 2 games. So I think the customization options are really poor and kind of mystify me. Like, they are just simple, basic things that would be like ticking a box. Really, there's nothing to stop it from having those options in there. Now, it's the online era for Nintendo. They could come in and patch that up, just like we had a day 1 patch for Mario Tennis, which I almost fell out of the chair when I saw load up. But so they could fix that. But even for me, who was already like, I'm going to replay this. I am going to play heaps of this. It could die off if they don't put these in.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I 100% agree.
I feel like a lot of Nintendo fans, after playing so much Super Smash Brothers, we all sort of want the level of customization as those games, which are just ridiculous amount of stuff you can do in those games. And then you go back to Mario Tennis, where you literally can't choose the amount of games and stuff like that in a round. It's it's a bit jarring.
You play Virtua Tennis on PS3. That was like one of the launch titles, or one of the early titles in its life cycle, 2007, 2008, and you could do all that kind of stuff. The career mode in that was expansive as like a world tour. Even the one...
Yeah, but hold on. You can't compare. That's apples and oranges here. We're talking about Mario Tennis, and you're comparing it to Virtua Tennis. Virtua Tennis is supposed to it's reality based.
Yeah, no, but Virtua Tennis, you had like hitting at card games and all these other bizarre mini games.
Enough.
Okay? But the fact is, you could customize in those games. It was the simplest of things. Why don't we have it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Here's why. Is because Nintendo aren't trying to appeal to that market. They're trying to appeal to their I'm going to go for a word here, niche market in terms of Mario Tennis. Like, there's the hardcores like Buddy Watson out there who loves their Mario Tennis. And then there's people like me who are buying it for the sake of having it because their mates are playing it, right? So for somebody like me, I don't care about any of that stuff. What I want to do is get on and play with my mate Buddy, right?
Yeah, Buddy, you fear me. So you won't.
But fair enough, right? But what do you think the majority of the audience is? Me or you?
I think the majority of the audience at the moment is you. For this game to continue and live on, if you had that, basically a checkbox where you could customize a few things, it would appease my audience better, and you would have less likelihood of that audience and those people that are on there now dropping off later.
Okay, but to actually sell more units, right, who are they going to try to appeal to? Me or you?
It doesn't stop you from selling units having the customization in there.
Yeah, no bullshit.
It's like any game online, like even something like Mario Tennis or even Destiny 2. You need to keep that content and keep your fans happy. And if they don't put these you know what I mean?
Customization.
If they don't put that in there, or if they don't keep updating the tournament system, people are just going to drop off, and this game's going to...
Well, here's the thing as well. I think I think games like Mario Tennis have a bit of a thing to uphold, because they sort of come out with a lackluster amount of content, unlike Smash Bros. Well, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, those kinds of games that they come out with a shit ton of content.
Yep.
Now we've also got 2 other games on the table that started off pretty bare bones, which are online games, by the way. They started off pretty bare bones, and now they're chocked with content, and that's Splatoon and ARMS. ARMS has had several characters added, stages added. They've updated the mini-games and how the event systems work, and they've got regular events going. Splatoon's the same. They constantly add weapons sets. We've just had an expansion for it. We've got rotating levels and stages. We've got Splatfests happening. It's just constant content, like, across the year they've got this calendar of it where they're just like, flip the switch, this is going up. Flip the switch, this is going up. Flip the switch, this is going up. Yeah, just throw it up in the air, make it 360 degrees.
Yeah, just chuck it.
Chuck it.
You better catch it.
Yep. Anyway, Mario Tennis needs to do that if it wants to keep going. They can't. They can't leave it as is. I'm excited to see where they go with tournaments because the way that they've sort of put it out, they're like, you are rewarded if you compete.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
No, I agree. Yeah, I completely agree with that statement. See, once again though, it's one of those cases where I think Nintendo are trying to be smart with selling their product these days too. Especially with the way that the Wii U went, they don't want to try and double down on that again. But it's a case where they're trying to really appeal to the masses now in a casual audience too. Like they're trying to garner that success of the Wii that they had onto the Switch again, and it started off like that. But with games like Mario Tennis Aces, I don't think it's going to be that case where they can get everybody like that. It appeals to a casual, but a hardcore casual at the same time. I don't know how to put that. If I am somebody who... Like, I know about Mario Tennis Aces because I pay attention to the gaming news and everything else, right? But if you're not, if you're just a casual consumer of the market, then more than likely you own a PlayStation. But at the same time, I have a Switch. What games are there? What am I going to buy? Okay, there's Zelda Mario. Oh, there's Mario Tennis Aces. I wonder what that's like. They'll buy it. And then whether they appeal to that certain person in terms of its modes and everything is a 50-50... it's a 50-50 shot for Nintendo here. And for somebody who knows about it and has played it myself and is like, like that, it kind of questions me whether a casual person would be... It's once again 50-50, whether a casual person would be more than happy to play it further on and actually have that in their hands and continue with it. But there's that other side where it's just... I don't know whether that's actually the wisest thing to be investing into, like, for downloadable content and further use, like, in terms of its replayability, whether they want to actually have people... like, having an online use for Mario Tennis Aces is awesome because it'll potentially grow the community even further, like any other game. But Mario Tennis Aces is just a 50-50 kind of shot at the moment, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is.
I like your tennis analogies too.
Thank you.
No, I completely agree. It just hopefully my hopes is that Nintendo do have a game plan for this and that they're going to smooth it all out and make sure that it ends up as successful as something like Mario Kart, whatever. It's obviously not going to appeal to the same amount of people for sure.
No,
but you know, to put so much behind this game, like the way they talk about it, they were like hyping it up, and that's something we didn't see a lot with games in the Wii U era.
Yeah.
At all. Including the Wii U's Mario Tennis. They didn't really talk about it.
Well, that came in 2016.
Yeah, but they didn't talk about it.
No one talked about Nintendo in general in 2016.
No. Exactly. So as long as they try and keep up, they've got a good momentum going. They can't drop it.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Hey, I know I'm going to steer off a little bit on this, but I got another one for you guys. So
yes, I play as Peach. Thank you for asking.
Oh, shut up. Back at so I'm going to ask you guys back at E3. So I'm going a little bit back here a little bit. Was there any games at E3 that you kind of upset that didn't make its way to Switch, like that have been on PlayStation and Xbox that didn't make it to Switch?
Not really.
No.
Do you have any?
Well, apart from the talk we had about Unravel, and how stupid that was.
Yeah, it just seemed like a perfect fit.
It did. Yeah, I agree. There are a few games that I expected actually to make it to Switch that didn't. Like in my predictions that I made, for some of the ports, like Life is Strange, didn't make it to Switch. I'm surprised that like a game like Firewatch made it over. And we still don't really know much about it, like in terms of a release date or anything like that. But Life is Strange has kind of teased, like Don't Nod has teased the fact that they are interested in bringing Life is Strange over to the Switch, and so did Deck 9. As a matter of fact, they teased it back when we were doing the Dash Awards last year, they were like, "Hey, Nintendo, how about let's talk?" And it's like, we haven't heard anything yet. And now they've announced Life is Strange Season 2. As a matter of fact, Captain Spirit actually gets released in a couple hours' time at the time of recording this. But we're hearing like it's kind of befuddling that. In terms of Nintendo trying to appeal to a new audience with the Switch itself, in terms of a mass casual audience, mass market casual audience, that they're not actually kind of trying to grasp some of these developers again. Like, I'd love to see,
I think a lot of the bigger games they have got, I think half the reason why we didn't get so much at E3 was because they were like, oh my god, guys, guess what we got? We got Fortnite. And that was their big, hey, everyone who's interested in video games, we've got the biggest game in the world right now, which is portable in your pocket and played on a real controller and
get locked out of your account for playing 10 minutes on PlayStation.
I started a new account. Are you
serious?
I'm not going back to my main because of it.
Oh god. Yeah, that's
so
actually big controversy there, especially now seeing some of these ads where Xbox and Nintendo are working together and they have like survived together as their slogan. That's like a holy shit moment. Do you guys think that PlayStation will crack?
No, I don't think they will.
Not until next gen.
They don't need to. They're outselling both Xbox and Nintendo combined. Why would they need to?
You said it before me. I was actually going to bring this up on the next Dash Culture as well. So, like, the thing is, PlayStation, I think, and this is going to be a controversial one, PlayStation are at a point where, because they're outselling them, they aren't paying attention at all.
No.
Yeah, no. And they don't need to.
Because I myself am a big PlayStation fan as well, and all this did was anger me. They just... Yeah. Like, it made me feel like not buying third-party games on PlayStation because they've completely lost it.
Where would you buy your third-party games now?
Xbox.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But, I don't know. Well, I sort of want them to come out and sort of, like, get it again. So, even... I don't know.
Where do you usually... If a game is on all three platforms, where do you usually buy it?
It depends on what I want from it. Usually, if it's, like, a big set-piece game I've got a PS4 Pro, so I usually get it on that. Yeah. Otherwise, if it's a game, like for example, the Sonic Racing game coming out later this year, if I was going to get it on anything, it would be Switch.
Yeah,
it suits that platform more. But
But if you were to get something on either Xbox or PlayStation or PS, Xbox, PlayStation or PC, you would pick PlayStation.
Yeah.
Typically,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think. Mainly because of the fact that PlayStation are, I hate to say it, on top right now. And the reason I hate to say is because of the way they're kind of acting in this whole situation. Mm-hmm. But it's the fact that Nintendo are the PlayStation are the top selling console right now. But Switch is like on fire right now and is catching up. But the thing is, I don't think it can catch up to the point where this generation ends, which is going to be in the next couple of years is what they're predicting.
No.
Yeah. I think in itself, Nintendo's in its own generation. When they kind of launched the Switch, they kind of, because of the way the generational count is, they're in their own generation now, somewhere in the middle, because you had the Wii U, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. The previous was the PlayStation 3, the Wii, and the Xbox 360. And so on. So the Switch is like in its own generational gap right now, where it's on its own. And the thing is that I don't know if Nintendo are trying to sell it themselves as it's your side piece console with your Xbox. And you know what? Now it kind of fits that, especially with their ad campaign. It's your side piece. It's your side piece console with your Xbox One.
Are you calling Nintendo Switch a side bitch?
Well, that's the thing. Like here's the thing: they're now promoting it kind of like that, and I guess this is kind of like a side topic that we didn't even expect. But sorry, guys from the House of Mario, that I'm trying to.
I like talking about this anyway. So it's fun.
The thing is that like now Nintendo campaigning with Xbox and sharing campaigning with Xbox, it's kind of like what's going on. Like it's great partnership and everything, but are Nintendo basically putting themselves to the side here and saying, hey, you own an Xbox One, there's Minecraft, there's Fortnite, there's all this other stuff, right? So when you go out of the house, take your Switch, but when you're home, play it on your Xbox One.
Yeah.
I think that's the marketing move, but I'm not sure.
I feel like that's some... Because I assume... I don't really know, but that Minecraft art ad where it only shows the Switch in handheld mode, I don't know if it was Microsoft making that ad. Obviously, Nintendo had huge involvement with it.
Yeah.
But if it was up to Nintendo, I feel like they would have shown more of the TV and handheld play.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Whereas they were putting it as Xbox is the TV version and the Switch is the handheld version.
Actually, you know what would have been the absolute perfect way to do that ad? And I've just thought about this. And just imagine it's just like... You've got the Switch and you can dock it and you've got it in handheld, but you've also got the Xbox and you can play it on your TV, but you've also got games for Windows and the Xbox store on your PC now.
Yeah.
Why didn't they utilize the shit out of that?
Yeah.
Like the Xbox side. They really should have. They really should have in that ad. It would have sold it.
If Nintendo made an ad, it would just be like, why do you even need your Xbox? Just put the Switch in the dock.
And you've got to remember,
anyway.
Xbox, kudos to them, a bit of a goodwill working with Nintendo, but they've got an ulterior motive to this as well. The fact that you need an Xbox account to sign in with your Nintendo Switches, so potentially there are all these families and all these households that have all got Switches in them that don't have next-gen hardware like a PS4 or an Xbox One yet because of, maybe the age bracket, maybe they're 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, maybe they don't want something like that in the house yet. They're all starting Xbox accounts now. By the time the next generation comes around in 3-4 years or 2 to 3 years, bang, you already have an Xbox account. Why don't you get an Xbox now, sync all your other stuff over? So it's kind of like planting the seeds for possible future customers as well. So yes, a lot of goodwill for Xbox. Doesn't hurt Nintendo, obviously. Nintendo are having their cake and eating it too. We're working with Xbox and we're getting the exposure, so good for them. But Xbox, there's a bit of strategy behind it as well, I think.
I think so too. But I think with the situation that's going on at the moment, that's happened so shortly after E3.
Yeah.
Xbox have made a really massive case with Game Pass. I mean, they were already doing that before E3, but they're doing it even more now that they've announced all this crap for it.
Yeah.
With Xbox and Nintendo working together so hard, regarding their crossplay and even with PC. That's such a big part and integral thing for them two companies to move forward most predominantly, and it's been such a fucking roller coaster for me this generation for sure, because I boycotted the shit out of Xbox initially this generation after Don Matrick was being a dickhead on stage. we all know what that was about.
Yeah.
And I was an Xbox fanboy. I loved Xbox. I had an original Xbox. I played the games on original Xbox. And I did it. I loved it. I thought Xbox was a fantastic console.
Which one? The 360?
No, even the original.
Yeah, no, the original and 360, awesome.
Yeah, they were fantastic. But nowadays, it was like, well, I didn't want to buy an Xbox One because of Don Matrick being an asshole.
Yep.
I ended up buying into PS4, and now we're getting to the end of the generation. I want to throw my fucking PS4 out the window, and I want to buy an Xbox One X. Because of the Fortnite issue, because it's proved to me that if they're going to do this with anything, if they can do this with Fortnite, they can do this with anything.
Okay, so I'm going to argue with that one and say that, yes, you're right, but at the same time, Nintendo would have pulled this shit before the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This would have been a Nintendo thing. See, I've always considered Nintendo the Apple of the gaming world, whereas if you aren't Nintendo, you don't exist here. There's nothing outside of Nintendo. Nintendo is the be-all, end-all. See, there was one point where I believe that Nintendo did kind of recognize everything around them, which was the last time, which was E3, I believe E3 2006, where Reggie actually got on stage and said, PlayStation have got a problem. We got our 3DS out on time. They didn't get the PSP out on time. That's PlayStation's problem, not mine. And I thought that was a fucking badass move by Reggie.
Yeah.
But after that, it was basically Nintendo being the Apple of the gaming world. They don't recognize anything around them. And if anything, they're kind of shut in on their own now. Whereas, and that kind of led to each company becoming like that, to be honest. Because if it wasn't like that at first, I believe, then none of this would be like this at the same time. I reckon that we'd all be living in harmony. But the thing is, as of right now, like it goes back to the start of the conversation, which is PlayStation don't really need to do this. But we'd love for them to do this as gamers. Appeal to a mass market and have this cross-play, between all gaming platforms. However, there is that argument there of what's the point of us doing that? Because then afterwards, why should they own a PlayStation? They can go buy themselves just an Xbox and own an Xbox if they want to.
Yeah.
So, no, go on.
Sorry. The thing is like with the crossplay thing, I'm not sure even I really give a shit if they want to be on their own.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's fine. I don't care. But
Yeah.
the issue with the Fortnite thing is they've essentially bricked my account that I've spent over $100 on.
No, I agree.
I want to use that on other consoles. I signed the Xbox EULA first. I played it on the Xbox One I have in my home before I played it on my PlayStation.
Why'd you jump to the PlayStation?
Well, the thing is I wanted to just... The PlayStation didn't have that EULA problem to begin with.
Yeah.
I could play it on my Xbox or my PlayStation. It didn't matter. And then I played it on my Xbox One first. I can 100% guarantee that. I took my PS4 to my mother-in-law's house, and I was just like, well, they're doing whatever, so I'm going to play something on my PS4. So I ended up playing Fortnite on it for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I went back home, played it on my Xbox just fine. But give it 6 months later, all of a sudden, I'm not allowed to play it on my Xbox anymore. I'm not allowed to play it on my Switch now that it's freshly released.
Yeah.
I just bought Save the World because I was like, hey, I should support the developers. I bought the cosmetics and stuff like that for the Battle Royale.
Right.
And now it's gone. It's gone because, I mean, I can use it for sure, but I would rather play it on my Switch than I would my PS4 because I can sit down at my PC and play that at home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's made it useless for me because the whole reason I wanted Fortnite on Switch is because, hey, I don't have to plug it into a TV.
Well, you know what you should get? The PlayStation Vita.
Oh my god! Shut up.
Remote play, buddy.
What
Remote
a way
play.
to invest.
But quick question to you,
Yeah.
Bryce. So, is that enough to stop you from getting a PlayStation the next life cycle?
No, their response was enough to get me to convince me not to buy one next life cycle.
Cool. Now,
Their
So you will not be buying
their
a
response
PlayStation
was
5?
Awful. Probably not.
And now,
Wow.
now, Bryce, if you play multiplayer games with Drew and he's on a PlayStation, does that convince you to keep staying with PlayStation though?
We don't play multiplayer games.
Okay.
Play a whole lot together.
wow.
No.
The thing is most of my multiplayer games land on the PC. The only thing I was buying a PlayStation for was the odd occasional exclusive, and I was actually playing my third-party, like, AAAs or whatever on there from time to time.
Yep.
Because stuff like, I don't know, stuff like your generic shooters and stuff like that, they don't have much of a reach on PC anymore. I don't know how much you guys touch PC. But
No.
they don't touch. They get most of their audiences from console, so you typically head for console towards that. So I was playing them on PS4 as well. Now I don't think I give a shit.
Yep.
So that was sort of our attitude when when Rocket League, when they said, oh, we're not doing cross-play with other platforms. Us two, we just sort of went, well, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
We almost just went, it's fair enough. And if they said the same for Fortnite, we would have said also, fair enough. But it's when Bryce is like, I can't use my $150 account anymore. That's when it was like, okay, you can't do that. You can't just you can't infect an account.
Yeah.
And just make
what,
it useless.
What the solution should be, there should be a way that Epic can transfer your data over, like without PlayStation kind of coming to the party and go, hey, Epic, this is my thing, I've got this on PlayStation, can I transfer it over? So you can't cross-play because PlayStation don't want to do that, but there should be a way that you're still not locked out of your content as well.
Yeah.
So
It's coming from a guy,
It
by
gets
the
a
way.
bit tricky as well because the main reason they want to lock the content is so Bryce can't be like, I'm going to buy all these cosmetics on Switch, and then Nintendo gets the cut. Then they bring it to PlayStation. And
exactly.
They're just using their infrastructure.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to siphon the money towards
I was going to say this is coming from a guy as well. How many hours have you done on Rocket League, buddy?
I played almost 9,000 games.
Jesus. Jesus.
Shit,
A
son.
little too much, yeah.
Oh, just a couple
That
of
is a
hours, just here or there.
I think
Okay.
that's more games I've played. I think that's more games than League of Legends I've played.
I'm playing Rocket League now, and you don't even know.
I would believe that. I would believe that this is pre-recorded and you've just predicted everything we're going to say up until this point.
That's right. Yes, I'm playing it with my mind. The controller's actually embedded in my brain.
Did you guys find it weird? So Kind of Funny actually had the GameSpot show. So basically they had the GameSpot shared platform there. Kind of Funny actually interviewed Major Nelson on stage. Major Nelson walked up on stage, sat down on the couch, and Greg Miller goes to him, "Hey, is that a Nintendo Switch?" And he's like, "It sure is." And it was almost, I don't know if I felt like that was an ad placement or anything for the fact that they're doing the crossplay, or if the fact that we're all in and the language that he was using, like we're all in harmony now and everybody's doing it. And then they asked him the question, "What about PlayStation coming to the party?" And it's like, yeah, I don't understand what's going on with PlayStation over there. It's
This is a kick in the guts after the sharing the game thing.
yeah, pretty much.
This is 100% what it is.
Revenge.
Yeah.
That's
feel
what
it.
that's what upsets me so much. Just having how PlayStation come out at the start of the generation, just so consumer friendly, and they were really for the indies. And now you don't see anything from indies.
That's why I wanted to support them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's all gone.
It's all gone now.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? PlayStation really started this generation strong. It almost like was. We'd learned from our past mistakes with the PlayStation 3. You'll see that with the PlayStation 4. And then as time went on, it's like, let's go back to the old model slowly, massage it. We'll go back. And then, bam, they're back there at the PlayStation 3 model again. So, I don't know. I still love my PlayStation. We'll see how this goes anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to get rid of my console. I'll still use it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to start investing in their
Third party.
properties. Yeah.
Well, not even Last of Us? You're not going to play The Last of Us?
I never even played through the first one.
I lent it to him. I tried to get him into it. But
Yeah. Honestly-
yeah, cool. And that's it for me and Dash. Glad we can make it, boys.
up.
Thanks for
No,
having me.
I understand. I understand. There's a narrative you guys like to it, but The Walking Dead ruined it for me.
Oh, fuck Walking Dead, man.
The Telltale game. No, I'm sorry, but like I already had a zombie game on my mind, and I know it's not. I know it's not in the same. I know it's not in the same vein in gameplay and shit. But I already had my emotions torn, and I wasn't going back for a second round.
Yeah,
You should.
I can't go to Telltale Games. I can't play games at 5 frames a second.
yeah, I
It's still emotional. Fuck you.
I never had that problem with Telltale games until Batman season. Was it episode 5 or 4? And
Episode 5, man. My game crashed 6 times.
I don't know if you guys saw the picture I put on Twitter, but it was literally one of the characters. It was like that.
With eyes.
It was the eyes. It was like the Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh, you
screenshot.
serious?
Yeah, that happened to me in the game. Like, holy fuck! And I turned to my girlfriend and said, "Holy shit, what's going on in this game?"
Was this on the Switch or?
No, it was on PlayStation 4.
Oh wow, and it did that. Shit.
Yeah, no, it did that, but it crashed. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm surprised because I played through. Is this season 1 that it happened to you?
Yeah, I haven't played season 2 yet. So
Okay. I played through season 1 and I played it flawlessly. I played up to I think episode 3 on season 2. I wasn't really too invested in season 2 as much as I was season 1. But yeah, I had no issues with the game at all. So this is surprising.
And just with
I
that,
think you're lucky. Sounded like it happened to a fair few people.
yeah, absolutely. And just with that PlayStation thing, how they were like kind of consumer centric and might be kind of changing their ways. It reminds me of that Dark Knight quote: "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And that's just what I'm picturing, like Sony, you know, doing that, becoming Harvey Dent.
Yes, brother, the fire rises.
It's similar to Nintendo too. They wanted to keep their Wii brand alive, and obviously, how they went into the Wii U thinking they'll shit hot, nothing can touch them. Obviously, we know how that worked out. So all of these
Wii
companies
U.
do it.
They do.
That piece of
I'm not denying
Tupperware.
that in the slightest. They, in the end, they're all money hungry corporations when they're ahead.
Yeah,
That's how they are. But it's just unfortunate that I got the whole we don't want to communicate with these two consoles thing. Their initial excuse was pathetic. It was really stupid.
Yeah.
100%. But now that they've stolen my Fortnite account, I am so fucking angry about that. I think it was about 5 days prior to that I'd spent money on Save the World. I could have just left it.
So it's now the wrong time to hit you up for a game of Fortnite on PS4 later?
Oh, fuck off.
I was going to say, did you guys see that Just Dance 2018 is going to Wii release?
Yeah. It's had, it's had a Wii release for ages, and it's still got a Wii U release. I wonder. I said this to Bryce. I wonder what's going to drop off first, the Wii version or the Wii U version.
I reckon the Wii U version will drop off first.
Yeah,
I think
it will
so too. Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's no point. I mean, the sticks are on the Wii.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Same controls. So
Yeah.
yeah. Because you still see like every now and again I go to someone's house and I still see a Wii set up next to their TV. I'm like,
Yeah, I know. It's funny that you bring that up. I was at somebody, I can't remember whose house I was at. I walk in, I'm like, oh, a Wii. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
I've got a Wii in the drawer right there.
Oh, God.
In the drawer is the.
It's different.
It's
I
way
was about to
different.
say, that's the words you need to focus on there. It's in the drawer, out of
drawer.
sight.
It's in the drawer, and that drawer is in another unit, and that unit is in another house.
Where's the Wii U? Where's your Wii U?
I didn't buy a Wii U.
Oh, okay, good job.
mine's
you.
still hooked up to the TV. Mine's next to my Xbox One.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, yeah. Here's the thing. I got mine still hooked up as well, right? Mine's been homebrewed to shit now, so it's got like a hard drive hooked up to it, so I can play all my games off a hard drive now. So I don't have to keep taking them out of the freaking cupboard because they're all the way in storage, right? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to store everything away and I'll just put all my games on a hard drive and be done with it. But to be honest, it's got like 15 layers of dust on it, so I haven't touched that in ages. And there's no point. I'm even thinking about packing it up, maybe even selling it, because honestly, all the games that I play on it are now on the Switch anyway. And the only one, the exception right now, is Mario Maker, and honestly, I haven't played Mario Maker since I've put it away. So
Mine's hooked up for Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That's what mine's hooked up for.
Yeah.
well, you're going to be putting that away, boy, in December when that comes out. Oh yeah,
Yep. Won't even need it anymore.
no, I'll tell you.
What a sad day.
Well, the thing is, what is it? Brendan's actually organising for Mario Tennis First. He's organising like a little tournament between everybody in 8-bit, and when Smash Brothers comes out later in the year, everybody in 8-bit's going to get involved in that as well.
Look out, boys! House Mario's coming to town for that one. I tell you what. Woo!
Oh boy.
There you go.
All right, guys, we're approaching an hour and 20 minutes, so I think we should wrap up the show there. Any little things you want to add to sum up our conversation?
Yeah, like I said before, Mario Tennis is a 7. It should be a 9. It's trapped behind some really minor customization options.
Oh,
but the
shut
gameplay
up.
is awesome, and
Talking about this game.
and I think there should be a doubles match between Dash Culture and the House of Mario in sometime in the near future.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
have
do
to get
that.
practicing.
That sounds like fun.
Yep.
Awesome.
Have to have a practice though. Oh no.
Yeah.
I am still confused. I am far from.
What about you, Dash?
No, I just want to say thanks for having us on, guys. I really appreciate us coming together and doing this crossover. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we can return the favour and have you guys on Dash Culture really soon too.
Yep.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. No, we had a heap of fun doing this. We don't usually do it over the internet. We're just usually in person. So it's a very different experience, isn't it? Like,
Oh, it is. Yeah. And like most of the time when we're communicating with people, they're from like some fucking part of the world where we up at a dumb hour in the morning, or like when we had the first. So it's good to have an evening conversation with a couple of good fellas
Thanks,
instead of like trying to organize a really fucking stupid time.
You're giving
appreciate it.
You're giving Dash way too much credit.
Oh, we're going to see what happens next episode, I'll tell you now.
Listen, just don't settle it. Just don't settle this over a game of Mario Tennis Aces.
No, this is definitely not going to happen, no. I already know who's going to lose.
I'm sharpening the end of my toothbrush for when it comes PAX time.
Oh,
Oh shit!
well, somebody's not going to end up being there at PAX. Me.
You're getting all the stones for your tennis racket. Gonna pair it up. Just before we finish, I will just read out a quote from our Discord community. We had Delfino Durans. He wanted to just talk about his Mario Tennis experience. So he says it was the first one he played on 3DS was Mario Tennis on the 3DS. What was that one called again?
Open.
Open, yes. He said, I remember really liking the me customization. The outfits were especially cute on the girls.
Nice.
And the powered purple shots were also very overpowered. I think they got nerfed in aces. The ace difficulty cups were also dumb hard because they could literally read your inputs and counter perfectly. And I like the street pass part. That's about all of my thoughts. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 47. Guys, where can we find you guys on the interwebs?
You can find myself at Dash Gamers, and also every second week over at soundcloud.com/dashculture with Mr. Buddy Watson over here.
Yeah, no, my Twitter handle is a complex Twitter handle that you'll never remember. It's at BuddyWatson12.
Oh, fuck. How will I remember?
You can also find us every 2 weeks over at 8bit.net with our hungry family, such as the House of Mario here.
Yes.
That's it.
And if you guys want to listen to Dash Culture, go in the show notes. There'll be a link to the iTunes and SoundCloud versions of that. So be sure to go and have a look.
And if you don't want to, don't.
Well, I guess so.
Don't
but
listen to him.
why wouldn't you want to go and have a listen?
That's it.
If you don't want to, go to Mario Tennis Aces. We'll settle this on the
Yeah, I'll be waiting.
Bryce, where can they find you?
They can find me at Bryce DeWitt.
And they can find me at iDrewby, and you can find the podcast at the House of Mario on Twitter. And just before we go, we want to read out our SoundCloud review of the week. It is by JHUAWJQ. I don't know if that's a name or you've got a lot of names, so that's your initials.
Hang on. Let me see this name.
Have a look, man.
Joshua WJQ is what I assume it's trying to say.
Yeah, it says JSH.
JSH.
You get
Joshua. So it's Joshua.
Yeah.
Joshua.
Okay, cool.
All right, go for it.
He says, "This is just great. This podcast made sweet love to my eardrums. I especially like it when they record at 5 a.m. and can barely speak right due to being so tired. They also tell it right, how it is, not just loving every move Nintendo make. Definitely worth a listen."
Ooh.
Thank you very much, Josh. We'll call him Josh. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. Nintendo Jukebox this week is... Let me pull it up, because it's not up right now. Is Paper Mario Fanfare by Player 2. It's fantastic remix. Go over to SoundCloud.
You almost said fantastic.
Yeah, well, maybe I just feel like saying fantastic.
Right. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Yeah.